I'm here at the launch of Lectric's new e-bike, the One, and we're about to take it for a test ride. I'm Mitchell, and you're watching Rider Guide. Let's go. I feel like this is one of those bikes that once you ride, it's gonna spoil you almost forever. Now at first glance, this looks like a pretty ordinary 20-inch e-bike. Until you look a little bit closer here at the drivetrain, and this is not a mid-drive bike, but this is fully electronic smart shifting. This is from Pinion, and this is the C1. So this is the top of the line electronic shifting, and it has smart shifting, so it automatically shifts as you ride, which is one of the coolest feelings, and the first time I've ever ridden an e-bike with this kind of system in it. So it's really, really cool. I'm gonna jump on the bike in a second and talk through it a little bit more, but let's look at the other features of the bike real quick. This is also Lectric's first frame that they've designed in-house. So Lectric's own engineers, designers made this frame, designed this frame, and so this is a fully unique custom e-bike to Lectric. Before I move on to the cockpit real quick, I just want to address the fact that it's a 20-inch e-bike, and they said they did that intentionally to keep the weight down. This is supposed to be the ultimate commuter bike. Most people, when they think of commuter bikes, they think of larger 26, 27.5-inch wheels, but they purposely wanted to keep it as light as possible, as compact as possible, and they found that you don't need much bigger wheels to handle the day-to-day bumps and obstacles that you encounter in urban settings. Now, it's not folding like their XP line, but it does have folding handlebars, which is nice. And this makes it so that you can still stick it in a car pretty easily. And the front wheel comes off really easily. It's a through bolt, so it's on there really solidly, and it comes off really easily. And this is a bike that you could stick in a sedan. You could stick in just about any car without too many problems. Now, this is their first e-bike that has a color center display. Looks really good. We're in really bright sunlight right now, and I have no problems reading it. It's very clear what your speed is. You've got your pedal assist. You've got a really accurate battery meter here. The other thing I noticed is that this has really, really good range. I mean, we've been riding around quite a bit. And the battery is still just completely full. So you've got some newer buttons here, which is nice. Nothing old or outdated on this. This changes the pedal assist mode. You got your on and off button. You've got a really nice throttle here. And another thing about this bike is that the throttle response is really nice. It's really aggressive. It's in the lowest mode right now, and it is plenty. And they actually have warned us to be very careful if we turn up the acceleration with the throttle. He said that it's really easy to wheelie. So they wanted something that accelerated really aggressively. And that's also why they went with the hub motor on this. I mean, it would be hard to put a mid-drive motor with the shifting system, but they intentionally wanted a hub motor because they like having cadence sensor rather than torque sensor, and they felt like a hub motor suited their need for speed the best, so to speak. So like I mentioned, this shifts automatically for you. It's smart shifting, and you can use an app to adjust the cadence you want to ride at and to fine-tune the shifting and the gears that it goes into. But if you want to do it manually, you still can. So you still get electronic shifting here if you want to do that manually. And you can go into the app and set it if you just want to do it manually. But like, the whole thing about this is that it does it automatically, which is such a cool feature, and it's such a cool feeling to just ride and not have to think about what gear you're in. And in typical Lectric fashion, they've gone with hydraulic disc brakes, which is nice, which is a cost-cutting thing that some other brands do, where they go for cable-driven brakes, fully hydraulic disc brakes front and back. Really nice. Now, because all the shifting is done up here, you'll notice that it doesn't have any drivetrain, no derailleur, cassette back here. And because of that, they can do a belt drive. This is the top of the line Gates carbon belt drive. They go with a belt drive because it's more reliable, it lasts longer, you don't have to lubricate it, and it feels really great. I've been a big belt drive fan for a long time. And normally it's just direct drive that you get, like where you just get a single gear, but because it has electronic shifting, you get the full range of gears to handle every sort of riding situation, but you don't have to worry about maintaining a standard derailleur and cassette and standard bike drivetrain. Once again, Lectric does the pedals really well. They have like the studded mountain bike style pedals so your feet don't slip off, which is something that most bike manufacturers kind of gloss over. They have the plastic ones that your feet can slip off easily. Your feet aren't going anywhere with these pedals. It's really nice. You'll also notice how solid these fenders are. I mean, these fenders aren't going anywhere. I have a couple e-bikes that the fenders have kind of gotten like bent out of shape and they rub against the wheel. You're not gonna get any of that here. Super, super solid. And then the lights, they've got a front headlight, rear brake light, and there's multiple modes. So they have a strobing mode and then just a standard brake mode so that you can be seen. And they also have the reflective tape on the wheels here so that you can be seen from every angle. So they've really considered everything that a commuter might want or need to ride effortlessly and also to stay safe. Okay, we are now out on the bike, and yeah, so it is a class 3 e-bike, so it's got a top speed of 28 miles an hour. We may be able to see that here. Woo! The throttle, it has 5 pedal assist modes. And obviously the most compelling thing about this is that you pick your pedal assist mode and then it just automatically shifts for you. And it really is game changing. Like when you get on this thing and it actually like just shifts and puts you in the perfect gear, it is really impressive. And it's electronic shifting, so it's instantaneous. There's no delay. You can actually hear it sometimes. I don't know if it'll pick it up on camera here, but you can hear it shifting and downshifting, but it's not overly loud, right? The motor is really quiet. The shifting is really quiet. It really is like a silent e-bike. This is one of those bikes that if you're commuting every day, you're not gonna have any annoying sounds. You honestly almost forget that it's electric, other than how fast it is. It's not a bike that is constantly reminding you that it's an electric bike. And I don't know, it's just so, it's kind of like riding the XP Lite from Lectric, right? But you have a huge range of gears. So even on the uphill, you know, you're getting plenty of torque. You don't have to strain, you don't have to put in really any amount of effort. And the nice part is that all of that can be dialed in from the app itself. So if you want to put in a little bit more effort, you can dial that in. You can set what your preferred cadence is. You can set when you want it to shift. And if you brake aggressively, you'll hear it downshift really aggressively too, so that you're never having to pedal from the highest gears. As mentioned, you get a throttle, and they have multiple settings for the throttle as well. Acceleration up to the top speed. You know, it's quick enough, but it's not overly aggressive. I genuinely feel like this is one of those e-bikes that, like, once you try out this shifting system, it's gonna basically forever spoil you on traditional drivetrains. It's so effortless. You don't have to think. This bike is so quick still. It's really, really impressive. And the price point is absurd for $2,000. It's genuinely gonna be hard to find anything that competes with just the ease of use of this bike. Lectric once again proved that they have their fingers on the pulse of what makes sense in a bike and on the price points that make sense in a bike. It's hard not to be a fan of them because it just feels like they get it. And you can do the thing where you accelerate with the throttle to get going, even though you don't need to. I kind of have a habit of doing that with e-bikes, where you use the throttle to get going and then you start pedaling. The nice part is that you still can do that and it'll shift properly before you start pedaling. But also, because it downshifts every time you come to a stop, you don't have to worry about shifting, downshifting while you're coming up to a stop sign or whatever. Or if you need to make a hard emergency brake, you don't have to worry about downshifting again before you start pedaling. So the innovation here is really awesome. This is a very unique approach to commuting, and I'm really impressed with it. I think the only small things that stand out to me, and they're very small things, is that this battery kind of design and system is a little antiquated. I would have liked to see them integrate the battery into the frame to keep kind of a more sleek look, because it's such a sleek bike. And to me, aesthetically, it's ruined a little bit by this chunky battery here. But I understand why they did it, because they also have multiple sizes of batteries and they wanted to probably accommodate their existing battery system. So it does make sense. And then kind of the 2 points of contention perhaps with this is the choice to go with 20-inch wheels and the choice to do no suspension. And people in North America really, really like having suspension on their e-bikes, but this is a commuting, road-focused bike. So you don't really need the front suspension, and you save the weight. They've got this down to 55 pounds so that it can be carried upstairs. And one of the ways they did that is by not putting suspension in the front fork and by keeping the wheels at 20 inches. And in my riding, I haven't found that I feel like I need larger wheels. Maybe 26 would have been nice, but then you get increased weight, increased size. So I really think their approach is unique. They're not really competing with anyone. This is its own bike, and I think it's gonna quickly take over the commuting space at the $2,000 price point. All right, thanks for coming along with me and taking a first look at the Lectric ONE. These are available to order starting today, March 12th, and will be shipping out in early May, they say. So you should, if you order now, get your hands on one in May. And if you're a commuter, it's very, very hard to think of another bike at this price point that does commuting better than this. So definitely go take a look. The link will be down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'm Mitchell with Rider Guide, and remember, stay frosty.